Hi everybody, this is Mark Moffat, sommelier here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with my first edition of Behind the Grape, where we'll talk about various wines that you can find in and out of the LCBO. We will discuss them, we'll never give them scores, but just talk about them and what makes them interesting, and try to tell a story about these wines and why we should have them either in our cellars or with a great meal. So today's episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite regions. I was lucky enough to go here about 4 years ago, which is the region of Mendoza in Argentina, and we're going to talk about the Zuccardi Malbec. So this Malbec is around $20 in the LCBO stores here in Ontario. For those of you not aware, Malbec really came into prominence in Argentina for a number of years, but it originated in Bordeaux and was once called Cot. When it moved to Argentina, it took on the name of Malbec, and the rest, as they say, is history. Zuccardi is located in the Uco Valley of Argentina at around between 900 and 1200 meters above sea level. Great alluvial soils, cool climate with that high elevation, and it gets natural runoff from the Andes Mountains. So all great things when it comes to winemaking. Malbec as well really enjoys sunlight, and that's a great thing here because in the Uco Valley you get roughly 253 to 260 days of sun a year, and Malbec loves that. You don't really find that in many other wine regions. This winery has been around since the 1960s in the Zuccardi family, and currently the winemaker is Sebastian Zuccardi, and what he's aiming to do is not make the best wines for points, but he's trying to make the best expression of wine from what a region can give it. And with this Zuccardi Malbec, I think the proof is there. So let's look at the glass. One of the great things, and I don't know if you can really see it in here on the reflection, but one of the really great things and interesting things about Malbec is when you look at it in its glass, it tends to give off a big electric purple, almost disco ball type color. So when I see that in a glass, even though we always say don't look at one thing in deciding what a wine is, when I see that color, my mind goes to Malbec, and then I have to slow myself down to really look at what's in the wine. So we look at this, it's got that big electric purple, there's some staining, and some decent tears legs on the wine. Let's see what it smells like. Classic Malbec, it's mostly dark fruit driven, blueberry, plums, black cherry, cassis. There's some tar. I often find a little bit of graphite in here as well. There's some vanilla bean, and there's a sweetness to it with a little bit of nutmeg and cardamom, and that tells me that the wine has seen some oak, and definitely these Argentine Malbecs tend to see a fair amount of oak. Lots of purple flowers as well. It's quite floral. The earth element is there, but it's really dominated by that ripe and dry black fruit. Let's see what it tastes like. Wow. It's a dry red wine. I can feel the alcohol. It sits right in the chest. You know, a medium plus alcohol. But one thing that I'm finding is everything on the nose is mimicked on the palate. You've got the black cherry, black currant, plums, cassis, a little bit of that graphite tar, black cherry. Still that vanilla bean is just slightly through there. Those baking spices tell me about the oak. One thing about Malbec, it doesn't have a super long finish. It hits you up front, the alcohol stays, but then the fruit dissipates pretty quickly. But there's great tannin structures, which means this wine's great for heavy protein foods. Ostrich as an example, But when I was in Argentina and driving up to these wineries, the one thing that always resonates with me is a big asado, a big barbecue of grilled meats, charred beef, and a glass of Malbec. Nothing gets better than that. So if you're looking for something new, something that maybe you haven't had before, Malbec's not on everyone's radar. Everyone's, we think of our Pinot Noirs, our Cabernets, our Merlots. If you want to get outside the box a little bit, look at Argentina. Look at those high altitude vineyards, and look at a grape like Malbec or Cot that gives you some versatility. It's fun, it's dynamic, it's interesting, and really it delivers. And for $20, you can't really go wrong. So take a look. Zuccardi, the Q Malbec, available in your LCBO, $19.95. A great expression of what Argentina can do and does do regularly on a consistent basis. Thanks, and stay tuned for the next episode of Behind the Grape.